Hey everybody, Richard Maxwell here with the Arcadia Music Creative Musical Arts and Sciences program, and it is the third episode of our new podcast format for the 2023-2024 school year. This week's episode is pretty cool. We got a bunch of great segments. These conversations moved away from just beginning of the school year stuff, which was great, but now we're getting into some really cool, very specific kind of topics and things. And you'll probably notice that each of the segments almost feels like we need to do several follow-up segments, which is also by design, and we're pretty excited about that. So as we keep moving forward, and you'll see some production enhancements this week as well, as far as how we're presenting things within the episode. We'll keep expanding on that as the students keep doing the amazing work they're doing. There's also another music video at the end of this episode, as there was last time. This one is from Jared and Adon. They've got a really cool tune. For what it's worth, it's actually kind of nice. They did basically one take on the sound stage, and then there's a second guitar part. And so Jared quickly jumped into our recording studio side of things, went into our acoustic room. There's no video of this, but you'll hear it, and did a one-take overdub of a 12-string guitar part and put it all together, and that's what you'll be seeing at the end of this video. So anyway, sit back, enjoy. Today, also, I'm recording this on Friday morning. Friday afternoon, we'll have our after-school show that'll be broadcasting as I record this now before it releases. But anyway, 3 p.m. we've got our live after hours jam, and then we've got a lunch show we're also doing that'll be all up on YouTube, along with a new EP of, I think this week it is 7 or 8 new songs from the program. So it's a ton of stuff being created, a ton of stuff being produced, all from the ground up by the students, and they're just doing amazing stuff. And thank you so much for your continued support of these amazing young musicians, and we hope you enjoy. Okay, so you three have been putting together a new piece of music.
Kind of.
Well, not
Yeah.
kind of.
Kind
I mean,
of.
we just saw it. I mean, I saw it. You guys were getting
Oh.
together. I heard some singing. I saw some playing. There's some things happening.
Yeah, we were working on the cover.
Oh, it's a cover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for hopefully this Friday.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, so first of all, let me ask you this. So what's the cover? What's the song?
505 by Arctic Monkeys.
Cool. Why that song?
Because we just really like that song.
Okay, no,
It's a
but
good
like,
song.
no disagreement. I guess what I'm asking is, there's literally an infinite number of songs you could choose. I'm ultimately hoping we push into some original material, because that's what we always push for. But, and you and I were talking about this last week, Colin, like literally after the show. Like, I don't get all I care about is get you on stage. So this is the one that you feel comfortable with, and you like.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like
Because what? Wait a minute. I'm so sorry. Let's back up. Who's playing what? You're singing.
I'm singing. He's playing the bass, and
Well, backing track is playing the backing track.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's okay.
We're gonna get him in when we do our original though.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we're putting some stuff together. So, what about, like, specifically? You've got so many songs to choose from. You like it. Why do you like it?
Because like in the song, it's kind of a weird setup as to how song structure goes, but I feel like it's an interesting, it's a good song. That's
Okay,
basically.
no, that's cool. That's cool. How's it going? Like, do you feel? Like, usually when people are putting songs together, there's this moment of, okay, yeah, it's coming together, it's working, or there's like it's not happening. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna even make this happen on Friday? I mean, we're still several days away, but how do you feel about it, Cal? What do you think?
I think that with more practice we can get it. I made a lot of mistakes when I was playing the bass because
That's
it's
You know,
I'm also very tired.
well, I was about to
So.
say, so you guys are working on this thing. It is, well, right now it's 3:30 when we're recording this, but you were out, it was at the end of the school day is my point. It's tiring. We live in Arizona where it's really hot, and lately it's hot and really humid.
And then it gets
we're-
really cold.
Yeah. So, I mean, but physically, it's exhausting. which means mentally it's exhausting. So I wouldn't beat yourself up over the mistakes. Plus, you've got time.
Yeah. And if we're not ready by this Friday, it'll just be next Friday.
There you go. And that's honestly part of the idea behind the whole. That's why it's always a gig, not the gig. Cal's heard me say that like 5 million times.
More.
Or more, right. What about, let me ask you this. Does working on the song change your sense of it at all? Excuse me. Like, I admittedly, I do not do a lot of covers. I have one, I won't say what it is, that I'm working. I've got this thing coming up that I'm working on for a live show. And there's one cover I'm thinking about putting in, thinking about it. And I've been listening to it incessantly.
Is it a Beatles song?
It is not.
Oh.
But every time, good guess, given me, but no. But every time I hear it, when I listen to it in the context of just listening it, I love it. When I listen to it in the context of, do I want to adapt this for the show, I still love the song, but I start looking at different things, right? I'm looking at like, does that arrangement really work under the context of what we're going to be doing? Does this piece fit in with that? Do you know,
How can it change?
Yeah, or should it change?
Yeah.
Or I hate to say it this way, but maybe it has to change because that bit there, that's never happening for whatever reason. Is that going on at all as you guys are playing with this at all?
Not really.
Okay, that's okay. I'm just curious.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm very hesitant to change things about a song when I'm covering it because I want to be as close to the original as possible. The exception for me, at least, is on piano because when I
a lot of arranging.
Yeah, when I arrange something for piano, I do my best to not make it the exact. So like sometimes like if there's a guitar solo that doesn't sound as good on piano, I'll put something unique in there. Like I have an Enter Sandman cover that I'm kind of playing with right now, where I did something cool with the bridge. A lot of the other like the older songs on my YouTube channel, the older covers are all there's the riff, but it's not a pure structure.
Okay.
And it's changed up. And like if there's a key change, sometimes it's in there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I play it in a different key than the original.
Sure.
Because I don't want to be the exact same because,
why
there's...
for this? I'm not saying it's wrong.
Because it's not really a
curious.
piano cover. It's like a full band cover, so we can get the original sound. So I feel like we shouldn't change the original sound unless there's an issue with like hitting a certain note or playing a certain part.
Okay. So if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is the real difference here is when you're doing it as a piano cover, it's virtually impossible to make it like the original anyway.
Yeah,
so why
yeah,
even worry about
yeah,
it?
exactly,
Whereas in this case,
exactly.
If you've got the okay,
Yeah.
Clint, I'm curious about something because you're singing it, which I don't care who you are and I don't care what the circumstances are. Fronting a song in any context, I think, gives you a different perspective and certainly a different set of priorities. Do you feel the same way Cal does about changing things at all? It's okay either way. I'm just wondering.
I mean, a little bit. Like earlier, I was practicing it, and I tried to like switch, like the way the person sings the song versus how the way you sing it. I tried to like switch that up a little bit because I feel like I can't get the right, like, I'm not that good at projecting. Okay. So I need to work on that.
That's okay.
So.
That's
some of that's confidence, some of that's honestly, and not to sound silly, you're gonna do great Friday. I know you are, and then you're gonna literally step off the stage and you're gonna be like, next time, and there'll be some fill in the blank or maybe 50 of those. But that's the point. I think it's just getting out there. Do you, as the singer, do you feel like you have any? I mean, like it sounds like you're making choices based on your confidence in your voice, which is totally reasonable. But are you making any, forgive it, artistic decisions based on that at all? Are there any things where you're like, nope, it's got to be this thing because if it's not that thing, the song doesn't work at all? Or you just kind of, I just want to survive this and see what happens?
Kind of both because, like, with Whitney Houston, how she, like, switches up, like she vibrates between the...
And she's got a range that's unbelievable and all of it's powerful and she's got like perfect pitch in the...
Yeah.
I hear you.
Why are you smiling?
What? Nope, you're good.
He's judging you.
He's not judging you. But so like as you're singing this, like are you
judging
feeling
you.
like the... Well, actually, I'm going to ask We're gonna get there in 1 second. Hold on a minute. But I want to just quickly. Are you feeling like the decisions you make are your own based on your musical instincts, or do you feel like you're making more decisions based on, I feel like this is where I'm comfortable, so I have to do things within that split point, that range?
I think that one because like I won't. I mean, I'll like songs that I won't be able to sing, but like I feel like with songs that I can kind of practice with and it'll sound better are like easier.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Cara, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Okay. I am curious. So, and if I was wrong about what I observed, you tell me, because we were in here doing some other segments, but it seemed like you were out there on the stage hanging with the two of them.
Yeah.
And you were listening to this thing kind of come together.
Yeah.
Were you previously familiar with the song?
No.
Okay. Let me. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions, and this is not bad. No, this is not bad. This is actually something worth considering on a much bigger level. You need to feel comfortable answering this honestly. Yes or no. It's totally cool.
We're not judging you.
No, we're not. No, but it's important because I'm going to ask something very. I'm getting.
We're not.
How dare you, bro?
No. But this is actually kind of an important concept in terms of audiences in general. You don't know the song coming into this moment. You're sitting there just listening to your friends work on something, right? Did what they do, whether what they did was correct or not, or perfect or not? I mean, that's why you're practicing to get better at it. But just in general, was there anything that you heard that you're like, you know, I think I want to, when I get a chance here later today, I think I'm going to look up this song, the original, because I kind of like what they're doing and I'm curious what it's based off of. Like, did it inspire you to explore the original song at all?
Yeah, I mean, it sounded very good. I mean, there were a few, like, minor things that were off. Like, I know Kalena's, like, singing voice, like, obviously, she hasn't, like, she's not a professional at it, so and no one's perfect at stuff,
Sure.
so.
Well, these things take time and practice. And frankly, it takes I'm not trying to embarrass you, but truly, I mean, it takes a lot of courage. The hardest thing to do is get up and sing in front of people. It just is.
Especially, like,
True.
solo.
You're being evil.
Yeah.
Well, no,
I offered to commendate on the vocalist.
He's evil.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Fine. No, seriously though, because I think that's part of what, like, you can easily, anybody can get hung up on any instrument with, oh my gosh, I messed this up, I messed that up, this is not good, they're gonna hate this, and you know, and you can send yourself down an endless rabbit hole of sort of like not even self-deprecating, but like defeatist, like I can never do this.
Not bass. No one cares about bass enough.
No, actually they do. That's the whole point. That's the irony of those jokes. Everybody cares about bass. It's just fun to make fun of bass players.
Yeah.
But to be fair, as somebody who's played more drumming, done more drumming gigs than I can even count it over my lifetime, everybody's got. There's always a joke about something. But my point is kind of actually ironically that somewhere underneath all of that, everybody's trying to tap into this thing that makes the listener go, whatever just happened, whatever I just heard, I want more of that in some capacity. Like, that's what everybody really wants. People will deny it all the time. I hear people say all the time, no, I'm just doing it for I don't care if anybody hears it or not. Yes, you do. I'm sorry. Yes, you do. You can say whatever you want.
Denial.
Yeah, but everybody wants whatever they create or whatever they're spending time on in this experience. They want people to listen to it and go, that was cool. You don't owe me 3.5 minutes of my life back or something. I mean, something to go, I like it. So I guess that's my follow-up for you. Did you feel like on some level there was something where you're like, I kind of I want more of this thing?
Yeah, I mean, because the song was very nice.
Right.
I love to be a part of something like that as well. I mean, I already am with the Mr. Blue Sky, but
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it.
And there'll be more of that too.
Mhm.
And it sounds like you're going to start working on an original piece as well together and some other things.
Yeah.
These are where those collaborative partnerships start, because you don't know what you don't know. You all walked into the class or the room, if you will, at the beginning of this year. I know for a fact you guys had no idea that the other even existed. You just start talking, and then it's like, okay, let's try something, and then out of that grow these musical moments to communicate. That's all.
Pretty
that
much.
matters.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Real
much exactly
quick as
what
we're
happened.
finishing up here, there's one thing I want to mention because your role seems. I could see where you or anybody else, and maybe you don't feel this way, but somebody could say your role is very passive and sort of like secondary to the two of them in this. But that's actually the opposite, because you're the sort of like the measuring stick of does it actually work? Because you two might be like, this is awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this. And then he's like, guys, I really hate to tell you this, but now that doesn't mean you're always right and they're always wrong. I just mean having somebody else's ears to listen objectively
Helps.
It's everything. That's why there are producers. I've used this example all the time. Rick Rubin.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
who Rick
yeah.
Rubin is?
Yeah,
Rick
of course.
Rubin doesn't play instruments. Really doesn't do any engineering at all. Rick Rubin is a genius producer, though. He just is, because he can listen to something and go creatively. What about this? What about that thing you tried? What about this idea? Whatever, and pulls you into a place where you're like feeling like you can move forward on it. Your role in this is probably more important in a way than Arcadia is, even though you're just saying I'm just sitting here listening to my friends.
Always be honest. Don't just because we're friends, don't be afraid to say this isn't working, because it's worse to not say anything and then have us go up there and embarrass ourselves.
It's not like the only thing I might like is like because I have to relearn some of this stuff, get
Over
used
Mr.
to it
Blue
again.
Sky, yeah.
But I mean, it's not like a secondary thing. Like, I'm adding like, even though I might not be as known to people, it's like I'm still into the details at least of the song. So
That's good. Yeah.
it still adds more onto it. It's like whenever you have, you could have a song in like GarageBand that has two instruments. It sounds very good, but then also you can add on and there are like 5, and then it sounds really good after that.
Or the other can happen too, which is not to say you shouldn't do stuff. Sometimes you add that even that third one, and you're like, nope, went too far.
I do that a lot with my individual stuff.
You and me both. Yeah, that's trust your gut. You see all those signs out. You see me in projects. That's why it's always trust your gut, trust your instincts. Listen. If it sounds cool, keep it. If it doesn't, change something. It's really that simple and yet that complicated. This was, again, really awesome. I like talking to you guys about this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see this. Friday, I think, is going to be a really good show. Are we thinking lunch, after school, both?
I can't do after school
Okay,
because
so we're doing-
football.
that's right,
yeah.
football season's
St. Mary's. Any Arcadia students watching?
St. Mary's?
This Friday
This
at
Friday.
St. Mary. Well, it's at St. Mary's. It's at Phoenix Community College, I think.
Okay.
But we're playing them, and we're gonna win.
Yeah.
But we need chaos. We need a crowd. Okay. So it starts at 7. It's this Friday night. You can make it.
Is this regular season or is
Yep.
this
Regular season.
and
Right.
it's
This
at
is our
Phoenix?
first.
Is it Phoenix College?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Getting
gonna look that up.
full.
Maybe we can. I'm not gonna promise, but maybe a house band could.
That would be
suddenly
amazing.
I'm not promising, but
A
let me see
wild
what we
house
can do.
band appears.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for being part of this today.
Yeah.
Narrow it down.
He doesn't like Sum 41, Oasis, Subway,
The sandwich place.
the sandwich
Okay, let's
place.
stick to music stuff for a
Yeah,
second.
let's stick to
Okay.
music.
Well, he doesn't like Sum
Not-
41,
Okay, some
Blink
182.
182,
Wait, Blink 182?
Oasis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blink 182.
Okay, wait, hold on a moment. So, jokes aside, is it possible that there is actually a musical through line that those groups, and maybe apparently there are others, I don't know,
Yeah.
that
What are
somehow,
they?
well, no, but I'm just wondering, like, is it possible that there is something that connects them all? Like, there's a similar element that you're actually, it's the element that, because people do, there are people who don't like certain styles of music or certain elements of music. It just doesn't appeal to them.
Well, for Blink 182 and Sum 41, they're both pop punk bands,
Sure.
which would be fine because I like Green Day and The Offspring. The problem is those are the only 2 pop punk bands I like. All of the rest of it, I either just kind of find annoying or I vehemently despise.
Okay, so I'm just fascinated by this. Okay, so is it, again, and I'm just thinking out loud here, is there a possibility that some of this is rooted in the idea? So you said you like Green Day, and you like, what was the other one?
The Offspring.
So, not a perfect line, I realize, but you could argue that in some ways those two bands are kind of the prototype pop punk bands. They're kind of the first ones to do it, at least mainstream. I mean, I know there's probably somebody listening to this or watching this right now that's going, yeah, but what about? But mainstream popularity, is that possibly what it is? Is that the other ones feel, I'm going to use the word derivative?
It's not that they feel derivative, it's just that they feel more like poppy, more alternative rock, and it's
Okay.
not a
So they're
sound
not
that I
true
like.
to that style in your view?
Yeah.
See, and I think that's actually maybe a reasonable. Is it musical? Is it lyrical? Is it imaging? Is it?
I think that musically, a lot of pop punk uses the infamous chord progression. I think it's CGAF.
Well, everybody uses CGI.
Everybody uses
There was
it,
a
but-
lawsuit over the summer with Ed Sheeran, who he said if he loses it, he's done.
Well, yeah.
Because his argument being, and we should probably talk about this in a later segment another week, but his argument was basically, you can't copyright chords. They're chord progressions. They're the building block. It would be like you can't like copyright a period or an exclamation point. Like, we got to write.
Well, yeah. I'm not criticizing them for using it, but the Blink-182 has a handful of songs. I think they have like 6 or something
Sure.
that use that exact chord progression.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I don't know. On the other hand, there's an argument to be made. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I mean, certain things work for a reason if you can exploit it. I always make a joke in class about how, if you're lucky enough that somebody can be like, oh, yeah, I know that guy. He's awful. Just the idea that they know who you are enough to say they don't like what you do is a really hard place to be in, because most people aren't even aware that other people exist.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just out of curiosity, are you a fan of those bands?
Yeah, I
Okay.
have an entire playlist on Spotify.
Do you?
I sell
Okay.
pop punk.
Are you a fan of them just to irritate your friend?
No.
Okay, I feel like I had to ask that. so what's your appreciation or your love of those bands?
I know this is gonna sound really, really weird, but most of them are in the game Burnout 3, and I play that game a lot. So
I don't think that's weird at all. I think a lot of music and our musical taste. I have a couple of songs that don't make any sense why I like them, except I remember hearing them when I was very little with my dad when he was driving in the car with me, or I guess I was riding in the car with him. But that association's really powerful. I don't think that's bad at all. So, if I'm understanding, though, you're saying your love of those, or your enjoyment of their music, maybe a better way to phrase it, is less about the music specific. It starts with you associate it with the game that you like.
yeah,
See, I don't think that's necessarily bad. Are there more than one editions of the game? Like, have they released like a part 2 or something, and then they have like different songs?
yeah. The Burnout series is
Again,
Whole
of all the
series.
things I don't do, gaming is definitely one of them. Which does not mean it's bad. I just don't. I don't know enough. Do you like? So there's like Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 10,
Yeah.
whatever. Do you like them equally?
I've only played the first one and the third one.
And you like, but do you? Okay, so but you like the third one as well. The music with the third one too. Those bands also appeal.
Yeah, Burnout 3 is the one that I play the most.
So
One is
interesting.
just
Okay, you don't have to do this, but it would be fascinating, honestly, from a process standpoint, as your musical instincts. I bet you can find all of the songs listed somewhere for all the different volumes. Be interesting if you put together playlists of here's volume 1, here's volume 2, 3, 4, so on. And even without playing the game, listening to the playlist of the songs from the volumes and seeing if there's something there that just from the association of the game, if you inherently get into the other songs, even though right now in this moment you're not necessarily aware of. Because to me, that's the thing that I find fascinating. Like, you guys already, I know you're all new this year, but I am so interested in your process, in everybody's process. I am really curious. You've identified something that's important to you. Does that connect regardless? If there's like and I'm just throwing out a random name, like there's an ABBA song in like volume 7, let's say. I have no idea if that's true or not. It'd be pretty funny if it was. But would you be like, okay, I know this is crazy, but kind of like the ABBA song because it's in volume 7 and it's not so much the. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, it's not like I'm not giving you an assignment. It's not like homework. I'm curious.
That's happened to me on more than one occasion where
Really?
I like a song from one game, or I play a bunch of games and then just put all their songs together. Rage Against the Machine's one of my favorite bands. I only like them because they were in Tony Hawk 2.
Actually,
How cool is that?
I want to interject. You mentioned Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, which is an incredible game, but there's one song in it by Papa Roach, which is a band that realistically I should and usually do dislike, to put it kindly.
Fair enough.
But they have this one song, Blood Brothers, which is in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Right.
And I think that's the only reason that I actually enjoy it. That's the one sole reason I like that song. It's just because it was in the game.
How interesting is that you can actually see? That's my whole point. There's these other things that on paper don't even make any sense. Like if you were to write out the reason you like that, you'd look at it and you go, that's not even a reason. That doesn't. Why would I care? Musically, this doesn't work. I don't like any of the other stuff they do, but because it's associated, I really like it. I think that's the power behind all this stuff. That truly, I really do. I think there's a real important thing there that you can grab onto that. Allison, what do you think about this idea of just how things can be, associated from one thing to another? Is there a connection for that for you at all?
Like association?
Well, like do you ever listen to something and you like it because it reminds you of something else rather than just listening to it because of the song, maybe?
Oh, I feel like it's the opposite. Well,
Really?
For me, if it's like the opposite.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. This is why I want to talk about it. So if I'm understanding correctly, you're saying that you really kind of zero in on the sound, the song, rather than it conjures up a recollection or a memory. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like with some of the songs, like some songs I used to like really like, and then when like something got associated something bad with it, like a bad memory, I just kind of like stopped listening to it altogether. So.
Okay, so that's a negative thing, but you're still associating with the happening, which is okay. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I have a couple of songs that they're not especially sad, but because, and without getting too far into it, but when my mom passed away, it was a song that I heard, and now I just can't help it. Every time that song plays, I go back a long time ago. We're talking the mid-'90s when she passed away, unfortunately. But it's like I hear it, and I'm right there.
It's like nostalgia almost.
Yeah. What's interesting and what might be worth exploring or considering is that, for me at least, and again, this is just me. You don't. There's plenty of arguments to say anything. I believe you should run 180 degrees in the opposite direction. But for what it's worth, those sad moments that you're referring to were like, for a long time, that song would really upset me. And then as time, distance, perspective, maybe, age, I don't know, maturity or lack thereof, depending on who you talk to. Now I actually hear that song and it actually kind of makes me happy in a way because it makes me think about her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's something else in the power of all of that. Oasis, really? Not doing it for you?
I've never liked Oasis.
Okay. Not saying it's homework. I'm curious. Check out Noel Gallagher, High Flying Birds.
All right.
He's the guitar player and the main songwriter from Oasis. And when that band imploded, he went solo and made Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. Personally, one of my favorite acts. I'm with you. Oasis I never got it. There were a couple of songs, but for the most part, I never got it. But Noel's solo stuff, Oh man, I could listen to that for just hours on end.
For me, I think I can actually pinpoint the one thing about Oasis that I really just cannot stand, and it's the vocals. I
Yeah.
can't deal with the vocals.
No offense, Liam Gallagher. He's very popular, and he has a way of working with an audience that is definitely, you got to respect it. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm Team Noel. I'm sorry. I know. Maybe you should be Team Liam, but I'm not. Okay. I want to have another segment. If you can, I would love like a week or two from now. I'd love to know what happens if you put together those playlists.
All right.
And I'd be curious what other songs by groups, because I don't think there's anything wrong with being like, this is what I like, this is what I don't care for. But I'd be curious if there's other, forgive me, if you have other Papa Roach moments. I don't know how else to call it.
I know what you mean.
know?
There almost definitely are some.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see those. And for you, it'd be fun. Does time heal that pain? Does that, you know what I mean? Like are there examples, you know, are there places where it's like, yes, but now it's this, even though it's the same stuff? I don't know. This was very cool, guys. I'm really glad we did this. I just do want, I don't think he hates everything.
I definitely don't hate everything.
No.
Maybe like 98% of things.
Okay, and just
That's a
it's
joke.
not musical, but I gotta know, because you mentioned it. We don't like Subway, but instead we prefer, no judgment here.
Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's subs.
Okay.
Excellent.
I think we're gonna end on that, because now I'm just confused. No, I'm sorry. Jersey Mike's, send us food, or Subway, or anyone really, because it's a bunch of teenagers. They eat, so send food.
Yeah, we want food.
There
We're
we go.
hungry. This guy right here, very hungry.
He stole my food yesterday.
I didn't steal it.
Yes, he did.
You gave it to me.
Well,
Repurposed, I think, is the word you're looking
Yeah.
for. There you go. You guys are awesome. Thanks for doing this with me.
Why do you like listening to music?
That's a good one. Why don't we start with something like that? That's actually a really good question, Luke. So actually, Luke, why don't you get us? That's actually a really, I love questions like that. Why do you listen to music? Because it seems like it'd be a really obvious answer, and then you start to think about it, and you're like, wait a minute, why do I do that?
I mean, I think that I found it actually out really. I found out that it's pretty simple for me. I mean, I like how it influences my mood and the subtle undertones that it can make.
Interesting. Do you find certain styles are especially potent for you? Or is anything going to change your mood? Or reinforce it, maybe is a better way to say it.
I think that anything can change my mood, but I mean, I usually use it for while I'm doing certain activities. Like when I'm exercising, I usually do like heavy metal or rock and roll, and
Cool.
when I'm studying, I usually will do video game soundtracks, because that's a hobby that I have. And
Those, wait, I'm curious. Those don't distract you from the homework?
absolutely not. I think that the
Interesting.
especially for the video game music, it instead, since I'm usually focusing on the game during that, it feels more like I'm playing the game, so it allows me to focus a lot more on the homework.
Because you're familiar with the game, so if it was, and I'm just trying to dig a little bit here, because I find this kind of stuff interesting. So you're saying if you're familiar with the game and therefore familiar with the theme song, you can use it as a way to kind of distract you from other distractions. I'm not saying that well. It's the end of a long day. Sorry.
I think that, yes, it helps to distract me from distractions, but
Right.
also the positive association allows me to focus
I
more
got you, because you
on-
like the game enough.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it really does affect your mood in a pretty serious way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's really cool that, first of all, not only that you can articulate that, but the fact that you're aware of it, because I'm not sure people at any age are aware of that. That's pretty cool. Atticus, you got any thoughts on that kind of idea?
As of lately, my main focus, reason for listening to music is because it helps me get into a mindset that influences my creative process.
Okay.
Because I personally really like writing stories and world building, so certain types of music can help me, like,
Do you do like, so you're talking about like short stories and like narrative, or are you talking about like video?
I'm
or-
trying to like write something that's somewhat long, but
Okay.
I have ADHD, so it's a little hard.
It's okay. No, I guess I'm wondering like format wise, like okay, forget I was about to say forget the ADHD. I know that's impossible. I didn't mean that. But set that aside for a moment. Pretend that that was not a factor in your workflow. What's the ideal? Like, is the ideal result like a short story? Is it a novel? Is it a movie script? Is it something else? Is it like a song cycle? I don't know.
Usually like something somewhat long.
Right? But would it be like a movie script, or would it be a novel, or would it be? And it's okay if you haven't thought of it. I'm curious.
Right now, I'm mostly just writing characters and like their behaviors and trying
Okay.
to kind of write a plot. I kind of have a plot based on, but
Okay.
written, but I'll probably like change it because I change a lot of things.
The reason I'm bringing this up in part is because we had a student in CMAS a number of years ago, great guy named Colin Martin, and Colin was very similar, and he started creating. It started out as here are these like lo-fi like 8-bit video game themes, but it quickly. My recollection, Martin, Colin, if you're out there listening to this ever, we need to have him back. Great guy, really talented. But it turned into storylines. And then all of a sudden it was like video game plot lines. And he was creating these like musical vignettes that were doing what you're talking about. So that's why I was curious what like, if you could like project ahead into the future, like what this becomes. It's okay if you can.
Personally, I want it to become a TV show, but I'm probably not ever going to get the funding to do that.
You don't know, but somebody's got to get the funding. Why not you? I'm very serious.
Fair.
I mean, somebody's got to get that gig. Well, maybe not anymore with AI. That's a whole separate conversation.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's getting ugly, but that's a.
I'm
No,
not-
but seriously, why not you?
Unrelated, but related to what you just said, how he made music and then that evolved into something. I wrote it, and then I'm making the themes that I pictured for my characters in class.
So that's all kinds of awesome. That's like John Williams. Literally, John Williams gets movie scripts and then writes essentially operas. Exactly what you're talking about doing. I'm not saying you have to sound like John Williams or do what he did, but you're in good company. If that's how you're approaching it, you are in really good company, man. That's really cool. Do you find do you write themes for like happenings as well, like events in the stories, or is it only for people right now?
So far, I've been working on only like 2 characters, and they're very, very different. So it's kind of hard to like go from making something that's kind of somber and sad to something insanely
Of course.
like goofy.
Right. But still, I'm sorry. I'm just like I'm super excited for whatever this turns into. Like I just think it's cool. You're taking music and repurposing it for your own needs, which is awesome.
Honestly, I'm pretty excited for it too, but I'm gonna try to stick to this.
Okay. Well, no, I love it. I'm so that's is there okay? I'll ask you one more question. I promise we'll move on. But is there a title? A working title?
No.
That's okay.
I have named all the characters, but not the title.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. Wait. I'm sorry. Okay. This really is like. Where's it? Like, what time is it? Is it like fantasy? Is it modern? Is it science fiction-y? Is it?
It's modern and mixed with sci-fi. It's like, it's 2030-ish.
Oh, this is so cool. All right. We're gonna dig deeper into this at some point. I'm sorry. I'm loving this idea, man. This is really cool. All right. Joe, what do you think?
I learned pretty early on that music, at least for me, is more like a reinforcement of emotion and something. I guess I like writing stories via like D&D and all that because that's a huge passion of mine. but I also use it as like I like to play video games too. So I always hear the different kinds of music put in video games that help reinforce like a sad moment that will make me cry.
Sure.
But I guess I use it to reinforce my own emotions and how I'm feeling for the day. So if I'm
Right.
slightly annoyed, I'll listen to some more upbeat kind of punk rock or like classic rock, something that has a bigger, like a louder tone to it, and
It
it's
pulls
faster
you out of
paced.
it.
Yeah. And it helps me calm my own emotions to get them out via the expression of other people's music.
That's
And-
really cool. It makes me want to do a survey, and very, very seriously, because some people do what you're saying. They use music to pull them out of something into something else. Other people use it as a way to reinforce how they're feeling, as a way to be like, I feel this way, and this allows me to really kind of drill down and fully exercise that feeling or whatnot. I'm not saying one's better than the other. It's just interesting as an idea to think of. I wonder, like, how many students at Arcadia, for example, do one or the other, versus there's probably a third category of the ones that never think about it and couldn't give you an answer.
Yeah.
But even that would be interesting just to see what the numbers break down at. I don't know. Sorry, I did not mean to cut you off.
No. No worries. I know, and there's also a huge part in lyricism for me. I love to listen to like lyrics that almost explain what's going on in my head, even if the beat or the melody doesn't match it. So there's that level of which is greater for me at the certain time and all that.
So are you? I just want to make sure I understand this. Are you suggesting that you're separating the musical content from the lyric content, and if one or the other doesn't align with your interest at the moment, you're kind of like siloing the other one so that you can still get the benefit of the one that does?
I just hit skip. If one's not doing it for the day, skip
Well,
to
no,
the
but I
next
mean
one.
in the same song, like the music is fantastic, the lyrics make no sense to me. Are you gonna ignore the lyrics but still listen to the musical part of it, or you're just saying find another song?
I'll probably still listen to the musical part of it. I don't just like ignore
Yeah.
it, even if a part of it's working for me. And
Right.
that's a huge part how I choose my songs that I
Sure.
like and my playlists and all
Right.
that. But it's all depending on, these lyrics are good, the beat's all
Right.
right. I'll keep it because I like the lyrics a lot,
Okay.
or the other way around.
Interesting.
But it'll definitely, some days I'll just skip that song. Some days I'll listen to it fully.
Right.
Some days I'll just like halfway listen. I'm like, all right, that's enough.
Okay, I have a question actually for all three of you, that I'm just curious, because you're all answering in very different ways. This is, by the way, I am loving these podcast topics that we've moved to this week. We're on our third episode, and don't get me wrong, it was great talking to everybody for 2 weeks about how's school going, welcome to the year, what do you think to the, but this is awesome. I'm curious about something, and it might apply differently depending on your take. But I'm wondering, for example, in your case, Atticus, you get a theme and you're really happy with the theme, and then you're like, that character. But then for some reason, whatever it is, a week later, you still love the theme, but you're suddenly like, okay, wait, actually, I'm going to repurpose it. Like, does it change? And I'm curious for you two guys, Joe and Luke, I'm wondering, like, do you hear a piece of music, it elicits an emotional response, but then at some point later, whether it's days, weeks, months, years, whatever, the same piece of music, but it elicits a different response because circumstances change? I guess I'm wondering, is that a thing? It's okay if, again, there's no right or wrong here. I'm just fascinated by the process of what you do.
Ooh. Yeah. Sometimes it'll change it to make it, well, of course, more nostalgic, which is a common theme with, very, well, it's also still mostly video game soundtracks.
That's
because
okay.
it's a huge hobby of mine. But also I can also cause it to elicit other emotions,
Sure.
if it is. So, like, if I'm listening it to a really hard time where a really hard time where I have really low self-confidence or something like that,
Right.
then it will elicit, negative emotions, and it will,
Right.
the song will be a bit more tarnished, I guess.
Okay, no, that's totally fair. What do you?
I have an example actually. Like one of my favorite songs, which is Drift from a game that I like called Guilty Gear. But anyway, the music is very fast paced, but the music is actually like the lyrics are actually about a guy's personal experience about like it's very complicated because
that's okay. That's okay. But the I guess my question is so do you find yourself ever reinterpreting it based on where you find yourself emotionally or circumstantially?
yeah, usually I don't listen to lyrics because I'm just trying to like zone out
Sure.
kind of.
There's a whole I think Apple Music. I have a couple of playlists I think, and they're like all like variations on like chill, and they're designed for what you're talking about. The idea that they just kind of wash over you. They're not supposed to draw you in a way that pulls you out of that headspace. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Joe, last but not least, buddy, what do you think?
I gotta go with the same. I have an example as well, but like Luke was saying, it all depends on my emotion at the time and how often I listen to the song. Like one for me, I think of off the top of my head is "Weirdo" by Radiohead. First listen through, it's like there's an angry song, it's self-deprecating, calling himself a weirdo, and then now if I listen to it, I feel like it's more like a revenge, spiteful song. Not like he's calling himself a weirdo, but he's mocking others for calling himself a weirdo.
Interesting.
Or for them calling him a weirdo.
Isn't that cool how, given time and perspective, the same exact musical thing can morph and change in art? I love that. You guys are awesome. Like usual, the bell rings and we're timing these. But real quick, and I know you've done this before, Joe, but it's interesting to see how it evolves, truly. I'm going to give you guys a word, and I'm just curious what your sense of the word is right now in this moment, Tuesday afternoon. It's August 22nd or something, whatever it is. What does it mean to you right now if I were to say to be creative or to create things? Like, what does that mean to you? Give me the 15-second definition for you on what that means.
I need to think for a moment.
That's okay. You want to go first, Luke? Joe?
I can go first.
Joe can go first.
It's my same answer every time.
No,
but it
that's
has
okay, because
expanded.
someday it may not be.
It's expanded a little bit.
Fair enough. What do you got?
It's still scary to me, but it's scary less in the sense of I can't do it, and scary as in it's unexplored for me yet.
So that alone is actually a huge shift.
Yeah.
That's really not the same answer, actually. That's
something
actually
that
a
you
big difference.
Something you told me is that, it's something I haven't got to do yet. So that's another reason why it could be scary. I haven't been able to create my own music or explore that side, but by the end of the year, very hopefully.
But fear of the thing is different than fear of trying the thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds more like you're willing to, let me rephrase, you're willing to try. I don't think the other part's going to be an issue. It may take some time to do it, but that's time, that we've got.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Luke, what do you think?
Creativity to me is the collection of life experiences that leads to what I make in that moment. And
Ooh, I like that. So like capturing a moment in time.
yeah, exactly. So it becomes any moment, it would be unique. Even if you have a certain set of keys, because the interpretation that you would have of your own music, well, of anything that you create, and the interpretation everyone else has of it would be unique in that moment because everyone changes constantly.
I like that a lot. Nice. All right.
I think I
Last but
got a
not
good one.
least.
It's what your ideas based off of your personal experiences. That's pretty much
that's
it.
fair. That's good, and that's true. That's true. You got to start with something. We talk all the time. This stuff doesn't happen in a vacuum. So this is great, guys. I want to go more into. It's so interesting. You made it at first like it was going to be a throwaway conversation. Like we were like, why do you listen to music? But actually, that's huge. and interesting. Thank you guys for doing this. We're gonna do more of these.
Of course,
Very
next
cool.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you guys. Take care of it later. But no, I am really glad you guys are here. What I'm curious about before we get started, real quick. First of all, what is your topic?
Controversial like music opinions.
Okay, so this is going to
Yeah.
be short. No, I'm kidding. This
No.
is going to be like 87 episodes, I'm sure.
Yes.
My
Yes.
question to you before we get into the specifics of it, I am curious, first of all, which one of you came up with the idea?
I did because I want to be like a part of the podcast more, and
same.
I
Okay.
really wanted to do this. Also because I thought it'd be funny to try and get through a bunch of opinions within like a 20-minute time span.
That's fair, and we don't even have 20 minutes to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, the fact of the matter is that I wanted to know who came up with it, but I'm also curious. Like, that is not like you guys are all excited to talk about this. This is not a normal teenager topic. Usually, most people either don't care or they're very sort of lopsided in their opinion. Like, I love so and so, and people hate them, and they're terrible because blah blah. Whereas I get the sense you guys actually want to go into some
Yeah.
weeds a little
Yeah,
bit.
we
So why don't you have a
We have a list.
Sophie has a list. Why does this not surprise me that Sophie's got a
Okay,
list?
Sophie made the list. We were calling last night, okay? Because
Really?
we're making a song.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to
And
know.
we were on
It's
like
called
call
popcorn
for like
ceiling.
an hour.
That's
okay,
awesome.
yeah, it's called popcorn ceiling. That's all you're getting out of us. At the
Okay,
moment.
no, that's
okay.
good. That's good. That's
So-
good.
Okay.
My question,
I-
actually, real fast before you start, is this an edited list or is this a stream of conscious list?
I don't know exactly what it is. I'm probably only gonna say a few because we don't have time.
No, but I mean, like when you were compiling it, did you guys go back in and be like, move
Well,
that
I
around?
did this on my
reorder it?
own.
She did it on her
I
own.
thought
I
you
fell
were doing
asleep.
one,
I
and
fell
you didn't.
asleep.
You fell
Actually,
asleep.
Lazy.
Lazy.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, so
All right, so give us the first one.
do you
What's the
wanna talk
first
about
one?
the majoring one or the? Sorry,
I mean,
go.
you
Yeah.
can. I want to
Okay.
start off with something strong, which is gonna make a lot of people mad. but
That's
What
okay.
is it?
The Arctic Monkeys are just the British Black Keys.
Oh, okay.
Wow, you're like swinging for the fences, kid. Oh,
I don't even listen to Arctic Monkeys, which might be like
Okay, well,
like
let's
people
okay.
get mad at
Let's
me for
let's
that, but, like,
okay. Wait,
Lexi immediately grabbed that mic. You gotta let her talk.
Okay.
My best friend is gonna be screaming at me.
let's okay. So let's let Lexi
Okay.
get. What do you got?
I used to listen to the Arctic Monkeys so much in like 2020, 2021, and I was like, oh my god, Arctic Monkeys, so cool.
Right.
And people are like always obsessing over whatever the lead singer's, whatever his name
Alex
is.
Turner.
Yeah, him.
Okay.
I think he's so ugly personally, but
Lexi.
their music is just not even like, I feel like it's something that you can definitely get from anywhere else. Like, it's just very
Okay.
kind
Le-
of basic.
Let me ask you this though: is there, and it's okay if the answer is no. Is it possible that it's more about like everybody? I'm like 18 times older than all of you put together, and you weren't supposed to agree to that. That's hurtful. That's just no.
You're speaking facts.
No.
That's all I'm confirming.
That's fair enough. No, okay, that's fair.
You're a
No,
teacher, so naturally it's just like,
yeah,
right.
That's fair. No, but jokes aside, everybody does this where you listen to something, maybe you love it, and then at some point you start to branch out from it. Is there any
Yeah.
possibility that it's not so much your sense of the Arctic Monkeys diminished? It's just that other things increased.
Well, I feel like it could be a little bit of both.
Okay,
Like, my
that's all
music
right.
taste changed a lot,
Sure.
but also I kind of was only listening to them just because, like,
Everybody
It-
else was.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
and
It was.
that's-
I was
that's
on a
fair.
That's fair.
bandwagon.
No, that's fair, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. So
Keep going.
all right. So okay, since we have a short time, next topic. That's what. I'm a huge Pink fan. Pink was like my first ever concert. Okay.
Nice.
I feel like people don't talk enough about the fact that she kind of did shift genres a bit. So she had her
Okay.
Misunderstood and Funhouse album, which is all Misunderstood was extremely alternative pop and like kind of like a punk rockish theme to it.
Okay.
And then, I don't remember what order it came out. Truth About Love or I'm Not Dead came out next. And that was much more poppy. And I felt like when I was younger, Pink was a lot more popular than she is now. I'm still going to her concert. And obviously, I'm not going to miss out on that. I've gone to her I've gone to almost every single tour since
It's hard to
Truth About
it's hard
Love.
to maintain certain elements
Yeah.
of mainstream though. In her
Yeah.
defense, and again only because of time, because I actually want to I actually do want to do like 87 segments on
Yeah.
this, but
Yeah.
I am curious about something. I don't think you're wrong about her changing styles or genres a bit.
I liked it. She changed genres.
Here's
but,
my
like, people
so I
don't
have a
talk
deeper
about
I have
it
a I
enough.
think deeper question.
Mhm.
Did the Pink? This is just my opinion.
Mhm.
There's kind of a message behind her and what she does.
Oh, yeah,
she's got
definitely.
a very
she's very like upfront about like what her message is, and
Did that change? Is my question.
I think her ideal of feminism did not change. But like, I don't.
So, like, when you listen to Pink's music, I guess what I'm asking is all of you.
I guess
are
she
you listening to the music first, or are you listening to the message behind it, and the music is how the message gets across?
So I grew up with her, so I listened to the message first. That was always my big deal, was listen to the message first, because I grew up with her, and that's like my mom and my grandma got me into it. But like, as I've gotten older, I've tend to stray away from Pink, and then I kind of only listen to music now. Like currently, like her Trustful album, I've only listened to like 3 songs from that, and that makes me mad about myself. But like,
don't be mad.
Real.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think her music has changed a lot, and like, I mean, that's normal. It's been what I started listening to her in preschool. That's a teenager's lifetime.
Sure.
Like, it's just changed a lot, and then I feel like just people don't mention it enough. I was just trying to say, you know.
No, I get that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I sometimes think it's. Look, obviously you're in this program, so on some level, walking into the room, it's all about we're going to explore stuff and we're going to make stuff. So I'm always pushing that process part of it, and I think an artist like Pink, personally, I think she's amazing. I think all the stuff she does. I love like the frankly the athleticism. That woman can pull off on stage.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Is insane. But I also think it's impressive from a musical standpoint and from, like I said, the messaging standpoint.
The cultural
like,
standpoint.
Like nobody's gonna go to a Pink concert or listen to one of her albums, I feel, and be like, oh, this is kind of, sort of middle of the road. She doesn't have like a whole lot of like interest in like expressing like deeply rooted
her entire
feelings.
Thing is just expressing herself.
Right.
That's
so. For you guys who are starting to build your own stuff or are continuing to build your own stuff, so my question, the parallel of that is, where's the priority? Is it the sound, or is it the purpose behind it, and then you find the sound to make it work? Because a lot of pop music goes with the sound, and if you're lucky, there's meaning behind it beyond just, make a lot of money as fast as you can.
Yeah.
All right, wait, you got another one?
I have another one.
These are great, by the way.
I have another one that I've proven makes people mad.
Okay.
Live and Let Die is not a good Bond song.
I don't listen to Bond. I don't listen to a lot of bands.
Please tell me that's not your opinion.
It is.
I'm going to gasp and pretend I know what you're talking about.
I've proven this.
How have you proven that it's a bad Bond song?
It doesn't feel like a Bond song. It's a good song. It's a good song. It doesn't feel like a James Bond song. That's my standpoint.
Okay.
It's like
I misunderstood you. So you're not saying it's a bad song. You're saying it's not
a
good for the
song.
movie.
It's not a Bond song.
Okay.
It's like it starts off really like slow and like ballady. You can
Well,
read
that's
these.
true.
They're in chaos. It like starts off like really like slow and ballady, which is that's normal for like Bond songs, even like old ones. But like there's not like those like strings or those instrumental like movements in it until it goes to that really fast part, and it's like this should be like a superhero movie, not a Bond movie.
Okay, so that's interesting because if you look, that franchise has really been around for a long time, right?
Yeah, and it's branded itself.
Right. So my sense of their theme songs is they deliberately try to find artists now who are sort of the current thing. So if you were to listen to, how many Bond movies have there been? Like 30 or something?
There's a lot.
Like I'm wondering.
Wait, we're talking about James Bond? I thought Bond was a band.
There's probably a band somewhere called Bond. There's gotta
I didn't know
be.
what you were talking about.
No,
I don't watch James Bond.
What I was wondering, is if you were to listen to like across the pantheon of James Bond movie theme songs, how often does that shift happen? Because I remember recently Billie Eilish did one.
Yes,
and
hers is amazing.
There was a lot of comments about how it's cool. It's Billie Eilish, and they're like, it doesn't sound like any of the previous ones. And
that's not exactly true. That's
not
exactly.
I'm just.
Tell me what "Set Fire to the Rain" is compared to that song. Like,
well,
I personally feel like the song that she
my
did
dad is a James Bond connoisseur.
What? Say that again.
I personally feel like the one that Billy did kind of sounds like a lot of other songs I've heard.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And it could be capturing a moment in time.
It's different. Like I watched like a whole documentary on the Bond songs.
Right.
What hers did is it actually wrote in the perspective for the first time of the girl in the movies, which is interesting. Like Phineas is on it, so it's gonna be already just like amazing. Cool. So it's like.
So
yeah,
we're gonna.
Okay, we
have time for one more short
topic.
one.
Okay, my last comment was I just whispered Alexi. The camera just saw me do it. I didn't know Bond songs were like this serious. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
but
no, they're
this
real
one
serious.
Kennedy,
No, they're real
when
serious.
Kennedy saw
We're
this,
in the weeds now.
When Kennedy saw this thing on the list, she was like, I need to do this. Okay. Born to Die is one of Lana's worst albums. She wrote it, not me. She wrote it, not
Listen,
me.
I have
Great.
reasons.
I don't
Okay,
listen to Lana.
so you have listen. I'm
Okay.
gonna give you Sophie. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds because we're gonna run out of time on this segment. We'll do more of these.
Yes.
Give us the 30-second version on. I'm gonna let you be wrong in 30 seconds. I'm just kidding. That's really not
The debut albums are always really interesting. She like knew what she was doing, but she leaned too much into what she was doing. Like it's too like R&B. It didn't like go with what she was doing. The vocals are like kind of weird. It's like there's Summertime Sadness and whatever else, but most of those songs were released as singles before.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like what's happening, but also like it's a good album. I'm not saying it's bad because it's Lana Del Rey, but like it doesn't fit. It doesn't like it
We're
works,
gonna
but
get
it like
chased
doesn't
around
work.
campus for
I
you
know,
saying
I
this
am.
right now.
No,
I know, I am.
no,
Listen to her
this
other
is
stuff
okay.
and tell me that her stuff is her other stuff is
Okay,
not better.
Lexi,
Okay, hold on.
Lexi's prepared.
Lexi's
Lexi
got
has pulled up
something.
Spotify.
All right, Lexi,
Oh,
what do you got?
Okay.
What do we got?
You just contradicted yourself.
What?
Because the topic was
Pulling out the
that
debate
Born
terms.
to Die is her
one.
worst.
No, I said one of the worst.
Okay.
I was like,
How many
you said
Wow.
one of the
How many
worst,
albums
but
are
then
there?
there's several. There's
you
a
said
lot.
one of the worst, but then you said
Okay.
it isn't bad. It's just
It's
not.
not bad because it's Lana Del Rey.
But
There's
then
not
how
like
would
a
it be?
bad Lana
Mm,
Del
okay.
Rey album.
Well,
Worst and bad are different. I think
Yeah,
I would like to say that.
Interesting.
Worst
I-
means
so-
least liked, and then
okay,
bad just means bad.
I'm giving
Yeah.
Lexi the last 15 seconds, and I got one last follow-up that I like to do with
Okay.
everybody for the Ennies, and we are definitely doing more of this because you guys are awesome. This is really great. I'm a little terrified, but in a good way.
I absolutely love Lana Del Rey. I feel like everything she does is like,
Amazing.
oh, yes.
I love her.
everything. Every song I feel like on Born to Die is chef's kiss, but I somewhat agree with you
Yeah.
that there's a couple songs on there that just definitely
Like
don't
if you listen to
seem like they're
Ultraviolence, which
Lana.
is the one just directly after
Oh,
that,
yeah.
you're like, oh my
Ultraviolence
gosh.
is
It's so good.
way
That's- I
better.
think that's her best one.
But I feel like, of course, Born to Die, video games, Diet Mountain Dew, National Anthem.
yeah, but like some of
is,
those
like,
were
the
singles
best
before.
song
Okay.
They
ever.
weren't like exclusive to the album.
We're going to table this because we're going to run out of time here because we're at lunch, but this is awesome. This is exactly what this podcast is supposed to be. I mean, this truly. So I want to do more of this. We could even, if you want, we could just every week we can add on to this. I don't care if we can do
okay,
more.
let's go.
But here's I do want to real quick. I'm curious about something because I just want to know, and you're gonna have to do this fast because we're the alarm thing.
Ooh.
I want the 15-second version from each of you. I'm gonna give you a word. I just want to know what this word means to you as a concept right now today. 15 seconds. The word is to create something or to be creative. What does that mean to you right now as we're talking at lunch today on Tuesday? What do you got?
Well, I kind of feel like if like someone was like telling you that you're creative, then like you have a lot of ideas that like you want to like put out, like create it in the real world, and like it's just like it's kind of like your own.
I like that a lot. I like the idea that it's not enough to just have it in your head. It's getting it to listeners. That's great. Lexi, what do you got?
I think to be creative or to create something is you're making something abstract that makes you proud of what you're doing, and it makes you happy or excited.
Interesting. I like that. You guys are, wow. Are you sure you're all like freshmen and new? That's
Yes.
really a lot of mature stuff.
I'm gonna
here.
laugh all
All right.
day
We
into
had
the mic.
musical.
Well,
we
but
weren't,
still.
we weren't gifted.
Musically
I got kicked out of
gifted.
gifted. Okay.
That's that's a different podcast segment.
Uh-oh.
Quick for time though, Lily. Create or
so
create?
I already answered the question, but I'm also
Yeah,
again
but it could change
in a
over
little
time.
different way.
Sure.
So I said last time that it was something that was a part of you that you put out. I agree. I still agree with that. That it's
Sure.
a part of you, but when you put it out, you have to translate it to other people that makes sense. I think I kind of like realized that because like I said, I never like composed a song before. Sophie has, and so I was working with her on a song,
Not
and I
really.
didn't realize it that like what was in my head, like when I put it out there, I'm like, oh, I have to change so many things in order for this to make sense.
Okay.
Like I don't have
Yeah.
to change I don't want
Right.
to say I have to change everything, but I have to
Ooh,
change
the
Shut up,
bell.
Bill.
No, that's okay. That's excellent, and we're going to talk about that specifically in a segment at some point very soon. Sophie, your
Just,
version,
like,
quick before I get yelled at for
very
keeping you
fast.
for lunch.
Like just an idea in your head that you get to like put out, like more just like outside in the world, like you like opening a door to something. There's not really a definition of it because you can do something very like textbook and it still be creative.
True.
So it's like, there's not really a definition. It's
No, that's good. That's actually awesome. You guys are fantastic. We're doing more of these. This was great. Thanks for
Yay.
doing this today.
Thank you.
Tú sabes que por siempre te amo. Quiero comprarte todo lo que yo puedo. Te amo. Eres mi gran tesoro, mi bendición. Y yo no puedo vivir en paz sin tu aroma. Y no puedes ya comparar con ninguna. Brillas como estrellas, qué bonita, con esa carita. Y aunque estás conmigo, yo siempre te cuidaré. Y tengo la suerte de siempre tenerte. Perdóname por las veces en que yo te fallé. No quiero perderte porque me perteneces. Preciosa, iluminas la habitación con esa sonrisa. Estás conmigo por siempre, mi amor. Quiero a otra, tú me encantas. Quiero no más, princesa. Yo te trato con toda la realeza. Te dedico canciones como esta, qué hermosa. Quiero a otra, tú me encantas. Y aunque estás conmigo, yo siempre te cuidaré.